Howdy, partner. Hey, what's up? Usman here, and today's video we're gonna have a look at a really cool project inside Ableton, my collab that I did with Jaxx and Vega called Desperados. And it's a really fun big room track, and I think it really captures my style and their style really well. And you will see into the project as well that there's a lot of things that's being divided. Like I mainly focus on the main break and they mainly focus on the drop. So without further ado, let's have a look at how Desperados was made. So here's the project, and you can see I of course color coded them really nicely for you all. And the Jaxx and Vega stems, which are quite a bunch, are here in yellow, and the ones that I did are of course in my usual colors. I think again it's easiest to just go chronologically from the beginning to the end. And the track itself actually started with, they had an idea for a drop, and what basically was in a way the final drop. Let me put the volume down a little bit. And barred some changes and some tweaking of the main leads to make him a bit more Western. That was actually what they sent to me when they approached me to do a collab, because we obviously did a collab with Venom already, and we really wanted to do another one. And I always, especially with collabs, I really want to have a theme, so we went back and forth with melodies, and then we really settled on a Western theme, and I think that's really cool. And you will hear throughout the project there are all these little ear candy elements in there, which I think is really cool. So if we go towards the start, and that's also something that I teach a lot to my students, is make sure that everything revolves around the main theme, especially when you already have a drop melody. Then you can just take that a bit out of each other and just take some notes away, so you can have a really cool, it's like a semi-break beforehand. So that's what we did as well. See what Jaxx and Vega really did really well is they combined like an actual guitar with this one. I'm not even sure if it's a real guitar. It might also be like a more Eastern element, but at least something like an instrument, but then with some leads. And what I did here is I added a lot of small little effects to just give it a bit more of that Western theme. So for Western, or at least sounds that I could feel as could work in a Western kind of song. Of course, they're just flutes and just impact, but I think they just give a really nice tone to the actual melody. So what I did is I combined like a Reese bass. And that basically just makes up the whole first lead, and I think that's a really clever way to do it. Just change the pitch of the bass a little bit, and then also just play around with the theme. And the theme doesn't always have to be like really into the melodic side. It can also be like sound effects, which we did a lot in this track. Then like the build is quite simple. Arrangement kind of ideas. When we have the main drop, it's like and it's a really clever and super easy trick to do in a breakdown is just take off some notes. So for instance, we have here, we have, and we just take off that double note, which then gets added here again. And it just is a really gradual way of telling the listener, okay, we're gonna push on towards some more energy, which I think is a really cool touch. done by Jaxx Vega. Let's see the drop. I can go through the stems of Jaxx Vega real quick. So they got some. When I heard this first, I was like, oh, that's really clever that they just use like a percussive sound on top of the, top of the standard big room lead. So you got the big room lead here. I think this is one of the channels. But combine that with like a percussion. And as you can hear, it's like all these small little things make up a sound, an actual layer. And what they do really well is what I always try to do is to have different kind of elements make up the lead layer and not just stack supersaw and supersaw. I know I keep hammering on that, but I still hear it a lot, so don't do that. Let's see, we got some brass. Some simple big room stuff actually, and that's also what the main idea was. It needed to be a fun, playful drop and nothing like not reinventing the wheel. And again, what we were saying earlier, what I was saying earlier, is have those little sound effects to really sell the theme of the Western. So they made a really cool rattle. I believe here as well. And let's see where there's other ones. Yeah, they have all these small little. And those, yeah, that to me, when somebody sends me something and there's a really thought behind it, that's just piques my interest a little bit more. So yeah, that's actually the drop, and that's I think we did quite a cool job. They did a really good job on the drop. So let's head over to the break. And the break was actually really hard because I made like maybe like 8 different kind of melodies until we got this one. And let's start with the main melody because I always make the main melody first, and from there I make a break. So this is the main layer. Idea was it needed to go up and up and up and just keep building on energy. So when we go towards the main leads, they are. And then we got the chords which just play their own thing. Usually the combination. I usually start with more of these hardstyle kind of chords, but then I also layer like because we're going for a really big room track, like a big room chord, and this is what I call a big room chord. Of course, layer some bass. The main melody. And then what we did then is I made sure that there's a little bit of a, because we go from a totally different melody in the drop towards that break band, I needed to really like guide the listener into that. So I made here this little pattern here where I just take the first note. And here, what I do here is I make some automation with some chords. Talking about the vocals, first I have this one. It's like just a vocal chop from Splice. The other one is just also a vocal chop. Why don't you stay? Why don't you stay? Why don't you opposed to Desire, I didn't do a whole lot of processing on this one. Just the usual EQ, reverb, delay. And I didn't even pitch it because it wasn't the right key. I believe I made the pattern work a bit better. Yeah, only the ending. So I didn't do that much different, but it was just, sometimes you just look for something, especially in this track. I just needed something to fill it up, because if I mute the vocals, yeah, that's basically how the break is built up. And then if we go towards the drop, the second drop, we just added a little bit of an extra touch, or at least Jaxx and Vega did. Because I personally, I'm always a little bit. The thing is with me is I prefer making breakdowns opposed to making drop, especially big room drop, because if I'm being honest, a bit fed up with making big room drop, because I've made so many of them and I have a lot of clients where I also make big room 4. So I feel like I'm getting to the point where I want to try something new with my drops. So that's what I'm experimenting with now for my own music, to make different kind of drops. So they did most of the work, almost all of the works on the drop. Just a little bit cool extra to make sure that both drops aren't the same. And then of course we have that little build up for the vocal. Raise your hands up. Raise your hands up. Raise your hands up. So, and just before my computer tries to go kill itself, that's how we made Desperados. By the way, guys, if you want to be part of a really cool community, I do have a Discord below in the description where I share my knowledge, I share sounds back and forth with my Discord members, and we will be doing some live streams soon as well, which is a really cool way for me to interact with all of you guys. I also have a Patreon where I share monthly sounds, where I also do teaching, one-on-one sessions. That's a great platform if you want to get some fresh sounds and also learn something along the way, and in turn help me as a creative out financially, which is much appreciated. Finally, I also have a video game that I'm working on, Wrath of the Mad King. If you want to be notified whenever something important happens in the development of the game, head over to the Steam page also below and check out everything that I'm working on there. I hope you like this little insight in how Jaxx Vega and I made the track Desperados. It was a really fun process, combining both our styles. If you like what I do, hit that like button. If you haven't already, subscribe, and then I see you all on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.